Hey everybody, welcome to a new video. In this one, we're going to be talking about the best strategy for finding winning products. Now, as you're probably already aware, there are plenty of videos on YouTube discussing this topic, but in this video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're actually going to be really sort of discussing the theory behind what makes a winning product and a number of different things that you have to be thinking about when you are doing your product research. So if you're struggling with product research, you're not sure what you need to be doing or what you need to be thinking about or what types of products are going to do well and which ones aren't, if you're just looking for a bit of guidance, then this video is for you because, like I said, I'm going to show you the best strategy for finding winning products, even if you don't have any idea where to begin. So let's jump right into it. So like I said, there are many videos on YouTube that talk about, how to find winning products and winning product research. I've done a few on my channel as well, but in this video, we're really going to be sort of skipping past the stuff that most people talk about and really focusing on the theory behind what makes up a winning product and also the certain things that you need to be thinking about when you are picking the products, depending on how you want to run your business. And this is something that not a lot of people talk about, but I'm going to be covering it in this video right here today. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the selection of winning products. Now, this is a topic that I have covered on my channel before, and it's a topic that a lot of people on YouTube have also covered. But I just want to very quickly kind of skim over the initial criteria over winning products because, if you're new to this, if you don't actually know anything about product research just yet, you need to know this is quite important. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the key criteria. Now, when it comes to key criteria of a winning product, like I said, we've been through this before on the channel, but it's things like mass market appeal. You want to make sure that your product is going to appeal to a broad audience, something that most people can make use of in their day-to-day life. That is kind of criteria number one. The second criteria is that the product needs to be a problem solver. And the reason for that is because it's a lot easier to sell a product where it solves a pain point for a customer. Now, it doesn't have to be a physical pain, it can be any pain, any problem in someone's life. As long as it makes somebody's life easier by removing a problem or a pain point from their life, you're going to have a lot easier time trying to sell something. It's a lot easier to talk about the benefits, and really when people want to buy something, it's because they want to remove a pain from their life. It's because they want to improve the quality of it for whatever reason. So you want to find a problem-solving product that has a mass market appeal. They're your first two criteria. The third criteria is that it needs to have some sort of unique feature or some sort of wow factor, some eye-catching element, because you want to be able to basically grab the attention of those users on that Facebook ads platform, for example. You want that product to stand out and catch people's eye, and you want it to be unique to you. You want something that people may not have seen before in the market, something that hits the two previous criteria of it being a mass market appeal and a problem solver, but also has something quite unique about it that will intrigue people and draw their attention. So that can be a really powerful criteria to help you when you come to product research. And then the fourth criteria that I like to look for is that the product is actually in demand. There are people out there that actually want to buy this. So you can look at previous sales numbers, you can look at Google Trends, you can look at a number of different places to figure out if this product is actually in demand one way or another. Now, you might have a unique element that might not be available anywhere else at the moment, and it might be something completely new to the market, but in general, you want to make sure that there is going to be a demand for the product that you're trying to sell at a high volume, because you want to be able to scale this, you want to keep it profitable, so you want there to be a lot of people that will basically want to buy this product. And that's what you want to try and find. So you want something that has a mass market appeal, solves a problem, has some sort of unique feature or eye-catching appeal, and people actually want to buy it, and it's been proven to sell. If you can find something that's been proven to sell, that's always beneficial, but finding new products on the market is always a good place as well. So that's kind of the key criteria. I don't want to hang around on that too much because I have done some more in-depth videos on the channel about it. So if you want to go and check them out, you can do as well. But there are other elements to winning products, and these are the things that people don't generally talk about. So you have to really think about the type of product that you want to sell. And this is what a lot of people don't really think about. They find products that hit that kind of key criteria that they've heard many times, and they hope that's going to work. But really, there's more to it than that. You have to think about it a little bit deeper. So one of the things that I like to consider is whether I want to sell a product that is evergreen or something that's kind of a social trend. So what I mean by evergreen is basically a product you can sell all year round. It's not seasonal. You can sell it, 365 days of the year, every year. There's always going to be demand for it. Things like dog beds, a very simple kind of example would be dog beds. That one, there's always going to be a demand for dog beds out there unless people stop having dogs as pets, which is very unlikely. But dog beds are really going to be an evergreen product. Whereas if you go for something like a social trend, you can use the fidget spinner. That was around a few years ago. That was a complete social trend. It absolutely blew up to huge levels, but then very, very quickly dropped off. Like, you wouldn't be able to sell that all year round to a high volume. It's just not going to happen. But the demand for the fidget spinner far outweighed the dog bed for a very short time. And it was very lucrative for a lot of people that got on it. So keeping an eye out for social trends and things that are trending in the market are really something that you have to kind of balance, because yes, you can have a really quick cash grab on social trends, but after that, you've got nothing. Once it dips off, it's gone and you're back to square one again. Whereas with an evergreen product, you can just continuously sell that at a lower level, but you can continuously sell it for many years potentially. So there is that to consider. The second thing to consider is seasonal and non-seasonal products. I was selling snow goggles for a while, for a number of years, but I could only sell them in the winter because it's not going to do well in the summer. People aren't looking for snow goggles in the summer. Same with sunglasses. You can sell sunglasses in the summer, but you're not going to really be able to sell them much in the winter. So considering sort of the seasonal versus non-seasonal element, you really have to, think about the sort of sustainability of the product that you're going to be selling. So an evergreen product that's non-seasonal would be something you could sell all year round, sort of thing. So that would be definitely one to sort of look at over a seasonal or a social trend product, for example. So the third point is around consumables and non-consumable products. So what I mean by that is a consumable is something that people obviously use and may eventually come back and buy from you again, like nail varnish, for example, or some sort of blackhead remover lotions, for example, charcoal teeth whitening, things that basically you have to use and it'll run out for them to come back would be a consumable product. And then non-consumable would be things like phone chargers, dog beds, things like that, things that don't really run out and people just buy once and they may come back to you eventually and buy a second one if they need to, but it's not going to be a regular occurrence. So the benefit of obviously consumable items is you have that repeat purchase. If people buy it and they liked it and they come back to you, you could actually just get a repeat customer coming back and back to you over and over again, to the point where your lifetime value or your long-term value of a customer is going to drastically increase. So instead of you being able to, let's say, your cost to acquire a customer is $30. If you know that over a 12-month period with repeat purchases, your customer is actually worth $100 to you, that means you could, in theory, spend up to $100 to acquire a customer, even if they only buy $30 worth of stock at the beginning. Because even though you're in a $70 loss right now, over 12 months, you're going to be at least breaking even, sort of thing. Obviously, you want it a lot cheaper than $100 to acquire a customer. Let's say you had $50 to acquire a customer, you're $20 in a loss at the front end because they've only spent $30 on your store. But over 12 months, because of those repeat purchases, you will now be $50 in profits. You would have doubled your money. So thinking long-term with consumable products is really beneficial because of that repeat purchase. Whereas with non-consumable products, people aren't going to be coming back to you as much. They will buy that phone charger or that dog bed from you, and then that'll be it. You make your, say, $50 for your dog bed, and then that's it. They don't really come back. So you have to acquire that customer a lot cheaper. So considering whether you want a consumable or non-consumable products is something you have to think about as well. The next thing you have to consider is the price of the product, whether you want to go low ticket or high ticket. So low ticket products are pretty much anything below $100, I would say. Anything over that, I would generally start saying it's more high ticket. Now, the differences between them is with high ticket products, you can have a wider margin. You could be selling something for $300 and make a $200 margin on it, which is great. For every sale that you make $200 profit. But the problem with that is you can afford, in theory, to spend up to $200 to acquire a customer, which means you're going to need a larger budget. You need a bigger advertising budget to acquire the customer. You're going to need more retargeting. You're really going to have to understand your customer. And it's more work, but it's also very lucrative. So if you have the budget to do it, high ticket or more expensive products are the way to go, but you obviously need to have that trust, you need to warm up for the audience, you need to eventually spend more to acquire that customer as well. So there is that kind of element in terms of high ticket. Whereas with low ticket items, anything really less than $100, generally we prefer to be in that $30 to $70 range, because that's kind of a real true impulse purchase kind of place to be. But in terms of low ticket, those are the ones that people generally can just buy on impulse. They will have the money, the majority of people will have the money just to kind of buy something if they want it. If you have the right criteria, if you pick the right types of product, there is demand for it. Generally in that $30 to $60 range, people are quite comfortable paying because it's not too much of an investment as long as they can see the benefit of the product. So, considering whether you want to go low ticket or high ticket is something you have to think about. The next thing you have to consider is your profit margins. Now, you really have to get this right ultimately because, when it comes to profit margins, people don't consider the additional costs that get involved. So understanding how to price your product the right way is really important. So let's just say you were buying something on AliExpress for $10 and you wanted to sell it for $30. You now have a $20 profit margin in that product. However, if it costs you more than $20 to acquire a customer using Facebook ads, for example, then you're actually going to be in a loss on that product because there isn't enough profit margin in it. So your cost per purchase or your cost per acquisition in terms of a customer is obviously going to be very relevant in terms of the margin that you put on the product. So let's just say you were buying something for $10 and you wanted then to sell it for $50. Okay, so now you have a $40 profit margin in there, but if it costs you $20 to acquire the customer on Facebook ads, then you're going to have a $20 margin in there. So you're going to be profitable consistently because your cost to acquire a customer is $20. So really understanding that profit margin when it comes to your product and your advertising cost is really important. Depending on the cost per acquisition or the cost per purchase on Facebook, for example, you're going to have to incorporate that into the price of your product. If you're buying it for $10 and your cost per purchase on Facebook is now $30, you've only got a $10 margin in there after that because you spent $10 on the product, you spent $30 to acquire the customer, so your true profit is then the $10 at the end. So always make sure that your math makes sense when it comes to pricing. We personally like to price at least 3 times what the product is worth or a minimum of, say, $30. So that means that we can really spend up to $30 to acquire a customer to break even. Anything more than that, with a $30 margin, it's in a loss. So obviously the bigger the margin, the better. So profit margins are really important, definitely something that you need to consider and make sure the math works for you in your business. And then finally, the average order value. This is very similar to kind of profit margins in a sense, but having an upsell product where you offer either a discount on a second purchase of the product they've just bought, or whether you offer an alternative product that's suitable with the main product, then that will increase your average order value. And increasing our average order value is really where you start to make the profit when it comes to dropshipping. Because if you're paying, say, $30 to acquire that customer and they buy a product that has a $30 margin and you're breaking even on that first product, but then they add an upsell that has a $15, $20 margin on it, then now you're making that $15, $20 on top because of the upsell. If you can then acquire the customer for, say, $20 rather than $30, you're making even more because you're making a little bit on the actual main product and then you're making some on the upsell as well. So if you can increase your average order value, your profit margins also increase. So considering the price of the product when it comes to profit margins, you also have to figure out how you can increase average order values, whether that's by offering discounted upsells and multiple purchases, or whether you offer upsells or cross sells, things like that to really increase the AOV. And then something else you have to consider, if all that wasn't enough already, is the advertising platform. So different products work better and worse on different advertising platforms. So if you look at the likes of Facebook and Instagram, if you're trying to advertise on those platforms, then impulse purchase products are where you want to go. It's those things that people never even thought they wanted to buy in the first place, but then they saw it on your ad and they were like, oh, I want this. This is a problem solver. It appeals to me. This has actually got some sort of unique wow factor to it. It's caught my eye. I really like this. I'm just going to buy it because it's only $40. Bang, they buy it. Okay. So the type of platform you're on when it comes to Facebook and Instagram, you want to aim more towards that impulse purchase buy with products that people don't even consider in the first place. They just see it and think, oh, I want that. That's good. Whereas when you go to, say, Google search campaigns or Google shopping campaigns, these are more products that people are actually searching for. Things like garden shears, for example. People aren't going to impulse buy a pair of garden shears if you try and advertise it on Facebook. If you think about it, if you wanted a pair of garden shears, you just go and search for it. You'd go to your DIY store, you'd go to Google kind of thing. You would look for it. You wouldn't just impulse buy a pair of garden shears unless you specifically wanted it. So thinking about the platform that you are on, that you're trying to advertise on, is also really important. So most people go with Facebook and Instagram. That's kind of what we focus on at first is Facebook and Instagram. So it's really about that impulse purchase that you want to be looking for there. So always consider the advertising platform when you're looking at your products as well. And then after that, once you've figured out kind of all the different criteria of what sort of products you want to sell, which platforms you're trying to sell it on, the next thing to do is really to, the research itself is where you're going to be looking. You have to find these products. So where do you actually look for them? Well, there are many places you can do this, both free and paid, which obviously makes it a lot easier. Now, these are things that people have talked about dozens of times on YouTube, so I won't linger on it too long, but places to look, you have obviously the places like AliExpress. A little pro tip for you can actually search for VIP in the search box, and it's going to show you a bunch of products that people have VIP links for. And what those are basically products that people are selling at high volume and the supplier has given them a cheaper product cost. So searching VIP is going to give you a bunch of products, pages and pages of products that people are selling a lot of, or have been selling a lot of. So just make sure you just do your sort of due diligence on them as well, and make sure that they are still in demand and things like that. But in terms of searching VIP, that works. Or you can even search for single letters. So just go through the alphabet, press A, enter, and then see what pops up. Searching by sorted by order volumes, see what comes up. Really free and easy way. It's a little bit time consuming, but that's kind of a free way of doing it. Then you have obviously things like Oberlo, DS's, CJ Dropshipping, Sell the Trend, Ecom Hunt. Any kind of platform that kind of shows products and shows the volume of the products can help you, find products that are in demand right now and selling well. You have the Facebook ads library is another place. You can go to Facebook ads library and just search for keywords. You can search for the simple things like get yours here, 50% off, things like that. Or you can search for benefits of the product. You can search for anti-anxiety dog bed and see what pops up in the ad and things like that. You can have a play around with different benefits and things that can help you find ads that are performing well, so then you can find products and you try and then find them on AliExpress. That can be really a really good way of finding something that works. You got things like Thieve.co. These guys have like more unique products that can really help you with inspiration of what you can buy. These are kind of more upmarket products, I would say. So they can really, if you're looking for something a bit more posture, I guess, you can actually go into Thieve.co and find some really good products. And what's good about Thieve is they really kind of, it's all user generated in terms of recommendations and things. So if it has a lot of recommendations and there could potentially be a demand for this product. So Thieve.co can be a good place. There's also Amazon bestsellers. You can go there and, search for that. I don't generally use that too much myself, but a lot of people have found some great products using AliExpress, using Amazon bestsellers. So make sure you check that out. And then also social media feeds. Keep an eye on your own social media feeds. You're going through Facebook and Instagram yourself. If you are being advertised to by a product, make a note of it. Go and check it out yourself. Maybe that is something that you could work well for you. We've had some students in the academy that have found some amazing products because they were advertised to themselves, and that's how they found them. So always keep an eye out yourself on your own social media feeds. And then when you have created a list of products based on everything that we've talked about so far, the next thing is to actually validate them. You need to validate the products to make sure that this is something that could potentially work for you. So you want to use things like Google Trends, see if there is a trend in the market, see if there's an upward trend for the product you're searching for. You want to do some competitor research, have a look on other websites that are selling this product, specifically Shopify dropshipping websites. Look at the volume of traffic, the different Google Chrome extensions you can get to give you, access to traffic data and things like that. Have a look at that. Check out the Facebook ads library, see if you can find the products. How many views is it getting? How many comments is it getting? Are they running multiple ad creatives? Are they really spending money on these ads for the product? You can look at the sales volume. Obviously, AliExpress has sales volume data. You can look at Sell the Trend. That has a lot more data on there in terms of order volumes and sales volumes and things like that. But you basically want to use all of these different kind of sort of platforms and research tools to find out if this product is something you can move forward with. Validate the product properly. And then once you've done all that, you want to pick a product and actually test it, because there is only one way you will know if that product is going to work, and that is by testing it yourself. I get dozens and dozens of messages of people asking me if I think products will work and things like that. I genuinely don't know until you start testing it. Once you've done the validation and once you can look at the data to see, then you have a really good idea if it's going to work or not based on the data. And that's something we obviously focus on a lot inside the academy, is data-driven dropshipping. It's all about the data, the numbers and things like that. But really, at the end of the day, you have to pick a product and just test it. You have to test it and see what kind of data you get back and whether it's going to work or not. And that is the only way. So, there is a lot of products out there, but ultimately you have to test one and you have to move forward with it to find out if it's going to work. So yeah, that's pretty much the theory behind winning product research and the foundation of what makes up a winning product and how you can go about really validating products. And I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please drop me a like on the video. It really does help with YouTube algorithm, get this information out to more people. If you want more help with product research, you can come and have a chat with me and my team, see if we can help you in a lot more detail. There is a link on the screen there. You just go to www.chriswayne.com/discovery. We'll be able to have a chat with you to see if we can help you with product research or with any other area of your dropshipping business. We've been doing this for years now. We've helped thousands of people from hundreds of countries, 139 countries to be precise now, around how to build dropshipping businesses. So if you want some guidance, you want some support, come and book in a call. It's totally free, and we'll see if we can help you out with that. But that is the end of this video. I hope you liked it. Subscribe if you're new, and I will catch you in the next one.